Our invocation tonight will be led by the Reverend Tommy Darn, visitation pastor at Advent Lutheran Church. And hello, I haven't
Carol.
seen you in a long time. Oh, you might need to bring the mic down.
A point of personal reflection first. My son David is a graduate of Orange Park High School.
Very.
And he was born legally blind and was served throughout his tenure in Clay County schools by two very important vision teachers, Leslie Jones and Michaela Tavaleri. And he was influenced to go into government by Larry Lancaster when he took his class. He now serves in the governor's office. He was appointed by Governor Scott to lead the Florida Council on Employment for Floridians with Disabilities. And now he is a supervisor at the Persons for Florida Persons with Disabilities, leading the employment and transportation and the adult day training centers. So I am very grateful to Clay County and to the teachers that influence his life. It is amazing what a teacher can do and to influence the direction of children. So thank you.
Thank you.
Will you pray with me? Loving and gracious God, you have blessed our county, our schools, and our families with your love and grace. We know you love our children even more than we do. So guide our deliberations tonight toward what is best for the safety and well-being of the children of Clay County. May all treat each other tonight with respect and courtesy. We thank you, Lord, for our school board. You are the source of all wisdom. So give them wisdom to make the decisions they need to make tonight. Bless each member and their families for their service to our children. Bless our teachers and staff as they guide our students. And be especially with those who teach our special needs students as they develop their unique abilities. Give each teacher and staff member the patience to deal with challenging students and parents. And help parents to work with their children and their teachers so they might learn and succeed in school. And so now, Lord, protect, guide, and shower your grace upon each of our students, staff, leadership, and their families so that Clay County schools might continue to thrive and prosper. We thank you, Lord, for answering our prayers tonight. May you be glorified in all that we do. Through your name we pray. Amen. Now will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Darm. The March 7th, 2019 regular board meeting of the Clay County School Board will come to order. I'd like to welcome citizens of Clay County. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card, which you will find located in the back of the room, indicating the specific item number or topic you wish to speak about, and turn it in promptly. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the public comment section under presentations from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. And if you do want to fill out a card, if you would be so kind as to hand it to one of the deputies on either side of the room. Thank you. First, we have our recognitions and awards, the 2019 Northeast Florida Scholastic Art Awards. Mr. Terry Connor. Oh, Miss Kim Bays.
Thank you.
You don't look like Mr. Connor.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'll pretend to be him. Good evening, everyone. Clay County is proud to announce some of our winners of the Northeast Florida Scholastic Arts Awards. At this time, we would like to recognize the 4 art instructors who had entrance, along with the students who participated in the contest. Please come forward and be recognized. First, the instructors who had students participate are Cynthia Royce Smith, Carrie Keene, who's not able to be with us this evening, Danielle Doctor, and Kezia Liberis. Students who participated in the contest: from Orange Park High School, Sarah Boatwright; from Ridgeview High School, Savannah Gilreath, Virginia Taylor, and Rose Trelly; from Lake Asbury Junior High, Ashlyn Martin, Mackenzie Nickmeyer, Rory Scarborough, Kayla Filbert, and Catherine Hickson; and from Oakleaf High School, Julia Rosillo and Taya Runjaic. To explain a little bit more about the program, we have the art instructor from Lake Asbury Junior High, Mrs. Cynthia Royce-Smith.
Thank you. The Scholastic Art Awards gave out $6.3 million in our 7-county region, February 2nd at the Florida Theater. We adjudicated over 2,000 pieces of artwork, and the students were awarded Gold Key, Silver Key, and Honorable Mention. The Gold Key Award winners, which our county has 2, from Lake Asbury Junior High School, Kayla Filbert and Catherine Hickson, and they are being judged right now for national competition, and we will know March the 12th if they are a Gold Key winner for nationals. These students worked very hard, and it's amazing the artwork that they competed against. They had to go through 4 rounds of competition to get these awards. We are very lucky to have such talented students in our county. Thank you.
Congratulations. Next on our agenda is the school showcase. Tonight is Montclair Elementary School's night. Mr. Bill Miller, principal. Your chorus was outstanding.
That's very, very awesome, isn't it, to see them
Yes.
sing like that? It's awesome. It's an honor and a privilege to be here tonight. Thank you for inviting me. Mr. Davis, I love that you give us this opportunity to shine on our schools, because it's a great opportunity to show you what we're doing. Montclair Elementary, we call ourselves the Montclair family. That's on all our boards. You'll see when it comes up. We're a B school on the move. We are a 2-time recipient of Champion of Change. We got the Growth and the Climate and Culture Awards from the superintendent over the last year and a half. We're very proud of that. We had 6 initiatives last year, so we're in the 2nd year of initiatives. Eureka, we're a fully implemented Eureka school. That is amazing. If you ever want to see a classroom in action, it's an open invitation to our model classrooms. We've also implemented LLI, SIPS, iReady, Achieve, and we received Title I at the beginning of last year. So it was quite a year at Montclair last year, and I was very proud of my staff and family members that we were able to do that with success and get that B grade. So that was a very, very proud moment for our school. 3 years ago, we decided as a foundations trained team, that's teachers that are trained in the foundations model, to become a PBIS school, Positive Behavior Intervention Support School. And so our team met for many, many months the year before we implemented, and we came up with the B board. It's something that we have used the B word in a lot of things at our school. If you come to our front office, there's a poem called B. It's believe in yourself because I believe in you, be confident in yourself because I'm confident in you, and be strong in your effort because Montclair strength is all around you. That has been part of our culture. This built on that, and the students say that pledge every morning there at the top. We take ownership of the expectations and procedures to create a safe, respectful, and loving learning environment. That's something that we built into our culture of our school, and the kids say it every day, and the teachers developed the B board, but the students get buy-in because they can be part of the class agreements. So that's an erase board. We used Title I money to buy those, to put them all over the school. There's procedures that come with that. The first thing it starts with is MCE 101. Every student gets a class with me and my assistant principal, Ms. Larson, on the first day of school, and they sign a contract of our expectations. Every new student gets that class in my office for 20 minutes before we go to class, and they sign a contract, and then they get a VIP tour with me or Ms. Larson, depending on who's available, and they become immediate members of our school. And it's really cool. You'll see them come in the cafeteria, and I'll be on duty, and they'll be like this on the first day, you know, waving to you. It's very important that they don't miss anything when they come, because if they don't feel part of it, it's going to be maybe a week before they even get settled. So that's a big part of our school. We also transformed our ISS program to a campus values program. So instead of being a place you go just for punishment, you go there for campus values coaching. It's a very well-developed program, and it has really helped our school, our culture, our students. We're very proactive in seeking out the kids who need to learn different behaviors, how to handle when you don't want to do something or when someone is rude to you. And it's really transformed our school. And we also have the Class Dojo implemented by all our teachers. That has increased the communication between parents and teachers. It's also given students incentives. It's really, if schools aren't doing it, they really should do it, because it's a great program and it's free. We are a CEP school, a Community Eligibility Program school. That was something we got 2 years ago, and this kind of led in. The reason I have this slide is because it led into our award of Title I. We applied for that grant in collaboration with food service, and so every kid at Montclair gets a free breakfast and a free lunch, and we have summer feeding. And our cafeteria staff is amazing. That turned into a Title I award last year. Our direct certification numbers for free lunch and the combination of the CEBP gave us that award. We're on a tiered system, so we don't get as much as some schools, but I am just it is the biggest blessing Montclair has ever gotten. We put our primary funds into people. If you look up there, you'll see that we have 2 Title I teachers. We have 5 Title I assistants. We have a math coach that we funded the other half, and we're even going to fund the full math and science coach for next year. We have a STEAM initiative with our resource people. They actually do that during resource on our Wow Wednesdays, which I'll talk about in a minute. Pisco Lab is in its infancy, so we're tweaking that as we go to see if we can get that to get better results. Parent nights like crazy. Our Eureka night, people were just flowing in, 100 plus people come in for that. Our Mums and Muffins was amazing this year. It was freezing cold, but we had over 275 moms and kids in the school in the morning. So it's just, Title I has really just complemented everything we've been doing over the years, and it allows us to get to that next level. Then we also have a PBS unit, Positive Behavior Support Unit. This is 4 teachers, 6 aides, and a behavior psych coach, where we have students with emotional behavior disorder that come to our school, mostly from other schools, and we support them and get them into a culture of family first, and then we coach them on how to handle their disability. And we are very proud that we have many students being mainstreamed. I just signed 3 today, actually, to get them mainstreamed, and we have several that are fully mainstreamed. It's really, to me as a principal, it's probably the most profound moment that you have when you see a kid go from can't function in a regular school classroom to back to a regular school classroom and doing great things. Up there, you'll see the one picture down at the bottom is my behavior psych coach coaching my teachers. So she doesn't just coach the kids, she coaches the teachers. The other ones were today, it's called our Level Up. The kids that were with the certificates, that was actually just today, and it's called our Level Up program. Once a month they meet, and it is a time for the kids to shine and show everybody else, I made it to level 2, I made it to level 3, I made it to level 4, and when you get to 4, you get mainstreamed. And so and Mr. Davis, thank you for your support. He heard me. I said we need more personnel in that program, and he delivered. So thank you for that. That is going to make a big difference with my staff. Professional development is a big initiative at our school. Ms. Larson is the key leader of this. She went to another school and looked at a model called Working on Work. We call it Wow Wednesday. It's very powerful. 2 teams rotate every Wednesday. Well, we have Principals Challenge Fitness Club in the back 40 of our campus, and our resource teachers do STEAM work with the other kids, and the teachers get 2 hours. They get their 30-minute planning, and they get an hour and a half in our data room. That's our data room there. Every kid in our school was in that room. And they work on work. They break down standards. They look at student work, and it's very, very powerful, especially when you get full participation from the people in the room. They see the value in it, and it's going to change how we look at rigor, because that's our biggest goal, is to get more rigorous instruction. So our Wow Wednesday is just, I have seen it as a great new opportunity in our school. It's brand new this year. That goes along with our professional learning communities. We have a menu that we do. We have teacher leaders that lead those, and you pick which one you go to. Like currently, right now, there's 6 of them, and you get to go pick one, and you go through it for 5 weeks, and then we set up a new menu. Our extracurricular activities are awesome things. A lot of schools have these, but we just wanted to highlight them. Math Field Day, we had a team last year that came in 2nd overall, so we're very proud of that. You saw our cores tonight. Our student council is up and running wonderfully. Robotics competition, that we just got this year, so we're working that. Track, you just saw that last weekend. Safety Patrol, News Crew, and Why Reads is on there because it is a grant that we received 3 years ago. In YMCA, we're the only school in the county that has it, and it's a very nice grant. It gives me a full-time teacher and an aide, and it's after school, and it's K-3, and it services 45 students, and they get a second dose of SIPs and also iReady Toolbox. It's coordinated perfectly with the school. We collaborate with teachers and them, and it gives those kids a whole nother free opportunity for learning. So we have seen great success out of there. Then we have another grant called 21st Century Community Learning Center grant. This grant is in its 4th year of implementation. It is called Afternoon Rocks. There are 4 schools in the county that have it. We have clubs. We just have so many clubs. It's amazing. It's after school. It's free. It's grades 3 through 6. Right now, we're currently serving just under 100 kids. At one time, we were up to 116. So it just fluctuates on that. But it connects to the school. It connects to our initiatives. It gives kids a fun place to go. It gives them a snack. It's free to the parent. It even gives a bus ride home. That has been an amazing, it's exhausting on our staff because we're working until 6 o'clock at night. But it is worth it because you see the smiles on the kids, and they always get upset that Friday doesn't have Afternoon Rocks. It's a Monday through Thursday program. So that is a big part of our school as well. And then community partners, can't leave them out. This is just a few of them on here. I could list probably 20 more, but our faith-based partners are very important to us. Celebration Church gives us 17 backpacks full of food for needy children every Friday. First Family, the Baptists, they have done so much for us over the years. They just delivered 1,600 snacks to our school for FSA testing. Compass Worship is a new church that's in our cafeteria. They rent our facility. They've adopted classrooms. They've given checks to the teachers for supplies. It's a new one coming on. And we even have more St. Catherine's. They gave us meals at Christmas for people. So that is a very critical part of our school. Business partners, we make a lot of fundraising off of Chick-fil-A. Lowe's just delivered 2 picnic tables the other day. Pat's Nursery, if you see our big school, donated to 2 big trees that I planted on my first day on the job, and it's this big, huge sycamore tree, and that was from Pat's. Home Depot, they've given us picnic tables, et cetera. That could go on and on. Our awesome PFA, they have done so much for our school. I can't even believe it. They raise money. They do service. They do festivals. It's just amazing what they have done for our school. Just to conclude, to show you 2 community things we do. One is the Montclair Family Barbecue. We do that in October to November-ish, depending on the weather. And we invite the whole community in, and the administration, Ms. Larson and I, with our fundraising funds, we pay for everybody to eat. The kids get it for free now, hallelujah, because I used to have to pay for that too. But now we get to invite the community in, and they get a free meal, and we have music, we have a big barbecue, and I'm out there with my chef hat flipping burgers. And it's really become an annual thing that we love. And the main thing that we do at Montclair that develops our culture is the flagpole ceremony. It's once a month. It's All the community members come in. We get around the flagpole. We actually have a nice courtyard for that. You got 514 kids. You probably have 150 parents. You have the 74 staff members, and we gather for community. And we start our day, every day, we start our day with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we have a moment of silence that respects the culture and beliefs of everybody. It's everybody's moment. You can't contest it. It's your time. I pray for safety over my school during that time. And we do that every morning, and then we have the Montclair Family Pledge. So the flagpole brings us all together once a month so everybody can see everybody. And it's really cool because you'll see the Pledge of Allegiance, and 6th grade finishes, and then 5th grade, because they're all different developmental stages. And it goes all the way down to kindergarten, and every time, everybody laughs. It's just so cool. So if you ever want to come by on the last Friday of the month, enjoy our flagpole. Mr. Davis spoke at it before, too. So that is our Montclair family, and we are proud to be in the Clay County school system. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller, what time do you do this on the first Friday? What time?
That's right.
And it was the first Friday?
First Friday.
Last
Right.
Friday.
And through the chair, Mr. Miller, I want to tell you, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your guidance. And thank you. You have one of the greatest community outreaches, and everyone understands your singular goal to improve the experiences of kids, and it's because of your leadership. So thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Okay. This is the last call for the comment cards. Are there any more? Okay, next on our agenda is the presentations from the audience, which are our 3-minute cards. I'll just start off. Eva Matt.
I have no idea what this is related to. I found out today that my son's class is probably moving school.
Oh, wait, if you would come up to the mic because we're being recorded
Oh, sure.
and state your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes to tell us what you would like.
Sure. My name's Eva Matt. My address is 1913 Covemont Court, Middleburg. I found out tonight that my son's ESC class is probably going to be moved from Ridgeview Elementary to Lakeside, or I don't even know. My son goes there because his sister goes there who has complex medical issues. So I would love to know any suggestions on logistics of picking up 2 kids in the same grade at 2 different schools that get out and go in at the same time. That's it. That's all I got. I figured I would impose a little inconvenience on
Okay.
you guys
So-
because this is going to be an interesting year next year. I will not put my special needs child on a bus.
So through
I
the chair,
won't. She doesn't talk, she
What-
doesn't walk,
what-
she doesn't self-feed, nothing. Have a good
Mrs.
night.
Matt,
Mom,
if you would
Mom,
just
just a
wait a
minute.
minute.
What?
Mom,
What are you
just-
guys going to say?
Wait just a
Mom,
minute.
Mom, through the chair, I'm sorry. First and foremost,
I just found out today.
First and foremost, I just
my
found
nearest
out.
family is 4 hours away.
Mom, 1 second. I appreciate your frustration. Okay, please
not even
understand.
frustration.
Please understand. I just found out when you came to the podium, so I have no idea what we're talking about. I've been in 0 discussions about moving programs. I have a team member, Mr. McCauley, who's climate and culture. I'm engaged every single day about what plans we're doing. We explicitly had conversations about, I think about a couple months ago, about keeping programs pure at their current schools. So I can tell you that I have not informed staff, and staff has not even begun to provide
I was
information.
told that it's
One
being
second.
voted on
For
tonight.
to be able, no ma'am, it's no ma'am.
ma'am.
So I can tell you tonight, we are adding instructional ESC positions along with support positions to better service our students, but we are not moving any programs out of any schools to another school. However, there will be, I will tell you this, and I'm sorry, and not for the audience, usually we will not respond, to the 3-minute portion. So tonight with this, I want to make sure you understand. There are situations where services are provided to schools and services are provided to individuals. And as they transition from K through 6th grade in elementary, and that individual may have additional services or needs, and they transition to a junior high school, those services may move from one school and transition with that learner because those are the actual needs. But as of right now, there's been no discussion about moving anything from school A to school B. I want you to tell you that. But I have Ms. Kim Bays, who is also our chief of elementary education, who will speak to you this evening, along with Mr. McCauley, who's the lead of climate and culture, engaged with providing additional supports for students in need. Okay.
Okay,
And
just
we'll
one
get-
last thing is in a year and a half, this one will go to Doctors Inlet. So I
Yes,
have
ma'am.
3 kids, 1 grade
Yes,
apart,
ma'am.
in 3 different schools that all pretty much probably go at the same time.
Yes, ma'am. And-
It'll be quite interesting.
And please know that we'll
I also
welcome
work
them
full-time.
with open arms and provide them a great experience. And we'll have
Okay.
team members meet you tonight, this evening.
Miss Matt,
Yes.
if you would look behind you, the blonde lady, that's Miss Bays, and she can help you. And then over to my right, over here, the gentleman with lots of hair, right there, that's Mr. McCauley.
You have no idea.
And we're
My
going.
husband and I both work
we'll-
full-time.
we'll
We
work-
have a severely disabled child, and we have no family
And I understand
anywhere.
your frustration.
I'm not putting her or him on
Right.
the bus.
I understand your frustration, but if you will just talk to Mr. McCauley and Miss Bays. It's kind of cold out there, Mr. McCauley, that you might want to go into a room. Okay. Ooh. Oh, that's, well, we'll get it. We'll help her. Okay. All right. Laura Wheeler or Wheeler?
Hi.
If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay. Laura Wheely, 17.
Wheeler?
Wheely.
Wheelie,
With a Y.
okay. I couldn't tell if that was a Y or an R, okay.
Castleberry Court, Fleming Island, Florida. So, Mr. Addison, I just want to tell you that the new administrators at Fleming Island Elementary and Lakeside Junior are phenomenal. A couple of years ago, we were actively looking at other options for our children, and we could not be happier today. So they have completely changed things for the better. But I did come here tonight just out of concern about the decisions that were made by the school board about the police force. And, I know that there's a lot in the news, this side, but I would never go to Sheriff Daniels and ask him for his opinion about Eureka Math or how to implement the governor's decision to eliminate Common Core. So the fact that he wasn't involved and other police officers were not involved in the decision-making is mind-boggling to me. There is nothing.
Okay.
My
Ma'am,
children.
I won't take any of your time, but I want to state something so that we don't get off track tonight at our board meeting. The procedure in the Clay County School Board meetings, you have 3 minutes to speak, and we should listen to the speaker. We do not allow clapping, yelling out from the audience. And if you want, I know in past meetings, sometimes if people want to show support for a speaker, they hold their hands up and do this. That's fine. We can see your support then. But please, I beg of you to not speak up. And we're trying to conduct the business of the school board. And we will be very respectful and listen to everyone who filled out a 3-minute card, but I ask that we don't have that from the audience. I appreciate your acting in a professional adult manner. Now, you may continue, and I didn't take any of your 3 minutes. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I just was going to say, my kids, I mean, their education, of course, is of the utmost importance, but they have to be safe. They have to be safe to get an education. I could educate them at home. The safety is, it's not about budget for me. It's not about whether Sheriff Daniels could do it cheaper or whether you guys could do it cheaper. That's not the issue. The issue is they have to be safe. And I did not know what to expect this past fall, but I tell you, Deputy Ford at Lakeside Junior, blown away my expectations. I had no idea that the resource officer would be so engaging in the kids. And I mean, I feel like it's such an open communication that they would tell him if there was a problem. And he's out there. I see him out there engaging in the kids. And so I just ask that you please take this under more consideration and make sure that it's not budget, it's nothing but the safety of our children drives the decision. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, sir, I have respectfully requested that we not have that. Now, if this continues, I will ask a deputy to remove you from the meeting. We are here to conduct the business of the Clay County School Board. This will not turn into a melee. All right, the next speaker, Mary Ann Culbreth.
Superintendent Davis and school board members, good evening.
If you
Mary
would
Ann-
pull the mic a little closer.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm Mary Ann Culbreth, and I live right here at Fleming Island at the Lighthouse Apartments, 2285 Marshall Lane.
Thank
And
you.
I'm not here to belittle at all. I have an 8th grader, Green Cove Middle, awesome, junior high, Green Cove, whoever's the resource officer there, awesome. But again, I don't want to belittle, but I just really want to put my voice out there and show my compassion and that the right decision be made for our kids. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, the next speaker is Misty Mason.
Good evening. My name is Misty Mason. I live at 4128 Osceola Trail in Middleburg, Florida. You're calling me short. I want to start out by saying, Ashley, nothing I'm about to say has anything at all to do with you, darling. We need more of you. Okay. I've lived in Clay County for over 40 years. I went to these schools. I graduated in 93. I was a thorn in Miss Bullock's side at Wilkinson Junior High School. And I promise you, I am not done yet, sweetie, because now this is about my babies. I have children that range from 26 years old to 2 years old. In my many years in this county, I've watched corrupt and greedy politicians, sheriffs, school board members take advantage of us as taxpayers in this county. Sorry. In none of my years here have I ever witnessed anything close to what I've witnessed in recent weeks. Sorry. The people of this county have been ignored, cast to the side, mocked, and made fun of, and then told to sit down and shut up. Not to mention the disrespect that has been shown to our sheriff, his fantastic cowboys, whom you should all note are deeply loved and respected by the people in this county who voted you in. Now, I wasn't able to attend your flash meeting, so I went back and watched the video not once but 3 times. I could not believe the blatant disrespect shown to those concerned parents and citizens in the audience. I am appalled by your behavior. You very people would have punished or even suspended any student that would have acted in the manner that some of you acted. I'm not here to beg you or to plead with you or to even argue my point, because it has become very obvious that you will not listen to us or even take what I, or anyone else has to say into consideration. But what I'm here to say tonight is this. You've all worn out your welcome in my county. I, as well as many others in this room and in this county, have made it our personal goal and mission to see that you will never again have any say as to what happens to or with my children and their education. Your rushed and secret decisions made recently has proven your lack of leadership, respect, and general common sense. You have again proven that you could care less about our children. You are greedy, shady, and true politicians. As far as we're concerned in Clay County, we have no room for politicians in our school board. So with that said, we say goodbye. And we hope you enjoy your time you have left here, and we wish you well on your future endeavors.
And the next speaker is Kimberly Castell. Is there a hand mic that we could use for Ms. Castell?
Oh, it's okay. I'm sure you can hear me. If not, I'll yell a little louder.
Okay, thank you.
My-
If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Kimberly Castell, 3589 Loango Road, Orange Park, Florida. I too have been here in Clay County 45 years. Every time I walked through a school door, I knew there was a real police officer there if I had any problems or needed any help. I banked on that whenever I stayed in Clay County for my children to go to these schools. And now, with the exception of you, Ashley, you're the only one who's bothered to stand up for the people of Clay County. It's not happening anymore, and it's time for you to go. And Miss Bullock, I'm sure you remember well when J.L. Wilkinson had a race war. And it was told that everything was okay, that there was no weapons found on campus, which was a lie. We saw guns and knives. Someone who has had no more training than Barney Fife going into these schools to handle the type of situations that they are going to have to handle. That takes a real police officer, someone who has been on the streets and they know how to deal with these people. We weren't given a choice. If you would have given us a choice and the people voted, hey, we want, these Barney Fifes up there, that's one thing. But we weren't given a choice. We were just told, this is what we're going to do with your tax dollars. Like it or lump it, but you're going to have to face it. Well, no, we don't have to face it. And I can guarantee you, your seats, don't get warm in them because you won't be there long. Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker, Joshua Hersis. I'm sorry, I couldn't. How did you pronounce it?
Vargas.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joshua Hargis. I live at 523 North Magnolia Avenue, Green Cove Springs, Florida. Bunch of people have been yelling at you. I'm going to try not to, but I'm a little disappointed. I think you're speeding through this way too fast. You're shoving it down the county's throat. County's upset, and they have a right to be. need to slow the roll. Board of County Commissioners is voting on Sheriff Daniels' proposal Tuesday. This whole motion needs to be tabled until the Board of County Commissioners either approves or denies what he's proposed. And then let's go back to the drawing board. You're going to get a lot more bees with honey than you are vinegar. And right now, everybody feels like having vinegar poured on them. I wasn't here for the last meeting. I was out of town, unfortunately, or I would have been here to discuss my displeasure then. Our sheriff's office does a great job in this county. A very great job in this county. I'm proud to still live in Clay County. I've been here 36 years and I'm not leaving. Please slow this down. If nothing else, slow it down. Let the county commissioners vote on this. Let's see what they say. Let's let them review it, because it's going to be coming out of their budget just like it is y'all's. You got a $1 million increase from us. Just give you plenty of money to do whatever y'all need to do, but let's slow this down. This needs to get tabled and brought up again next month. Let them do their job. Let them look it over. Y'all look it over. Let the people have a chance to look it over and get together and go again. Because where we're going right now is not working. You're making county citizens right behind me, all these people mad right now. None of us want to be mad. I am very disappointed in the way this has been handled. I just say we all regroup, citizens, board, work together as a community like the school board used to do. I grew up in this county. I went to school in this county. Went to Grove Park Elementary, Orange Park Junior High, Orange Park High School. Went to college right out there, County Road 220. It used to be St. John's River Community College. So, never left the county. Please, I'm just begging y'all, slow this down. Let's let the sheriff come back in here and talk to us after the BCC looks at this. Let's all talk about this and work on this. I know you've already put the proposal forward to FDLE to get your status. Fine, let it go. Let them do their thing over in Tallahassee. Doesn't mean you got to rubber stamp it and it's a done deal. Let's all refocus on this. Slow down, and let's not make everybody mad, because right now we're going nowhere fast. And you're making a lot of people mad for no reason. Thank y'all.
Excuse me. The next speaker, Charles Hodges.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles Hodges. I live at 7236 County Road 315, Keystone Heights, Florida. Longtime Clay County resident. I'm here tonight to urge you for one reason. I normally stay out of school board business, but I look around and I see so much reaction in our community, so much fear in our community right now, that you're fixing to make a terrible decision that's going to last for years to come, and children will be the one to suffer. I can't help but notice tonight you got gentlemen in green, both sides of the door, protecting you here tonight. I think that needs to continue in our school system, because I don't feel that you can put together a police force to match what Clay County has. I know Darrell Daniels personally and many of the officers in this county, and they go to training that you guys don't have your officers set up to go to. Main thing is safety in these school systems. We only have one chance to keep our kids safe. We can't make a mistake after a school shooting or something, say, oops, we made a mistake, we should have went the other way. Mr. Daniels has presented you guys with an option. I hope you guys will review it and take it. It's a pretty good deal, because let me tell you something. End of the day, when your police officers need reinforcements, they're calling these guys, because you don't have a force to match what they do. You don't have the training, the facilities, and the people to match it, okay? But who's going to pay the penalty is going to be the children, okay? Clay County deserves better. Many of you are longtime board members here. You know what your voters want. They're out here talking to you right now, telling you. Pay attention, folks. Let's get it done one time. Let's get it done right. Let your gentlemen in green guard your schools, okay? If not, I can assure you, me in this county will review from this day on every decision you make, every dollar you make. You'll be inundated with public records requests, because we're going to want to know every dime you spend on your law enforcement, because we know what our sheriff spends their money on. Thank you.
And the next speaker is Patricia Schaefer.
Good evening. Patricia Schaefer, 823 Ashwood Court, Orange Park, Florida. Mr. Davis, the board, thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. I'm not only here as a taxpayer, I'm here as a representative of the Clay County Business Association. The Clay County Business Association comprises a growing number of Clay County business owners. As such, it's our responsibility to ensure the vitality of having these businesses in our community and the possibility of attracting new, stronger, larger businesses into our community. The recent developments of the Clay County School Board raises significant questions in regard to fiscal responsibility and economic stability within our county and could detract new businesses to our community. The 1% millage increase was sold to the taxpayers of our county as a safety and security for our schools. The millage increase will bring in roughly $10 million per year over the next 4 years. What happens when the money runs out? Why should the taxpayers pay for duplicated services within our community? The school board's function is to oversee that our county children receive a quality education as defined by our state constitution. Safety and security of our residents belongs in the hands of the sheriff. Clay County residents voted for Sheriff Daniels, and he has the expertise in this field, and by state statute, he is the governing body of law enforcement for this county. Why would this school board refuse to give the sheriff an opportunity to share his wealth of knowledge, his expertise when it comes to one of our greatest assets in our community? That being the safety and security of the future of this community. The future starts and ends with the next generation. They're the most important asset we have. It's our kids. The board is only willing to share a portion of this budget in regards to officer safety. We have an enormous financial burden facing us, with roughly, give or take, over $300 million in costs to repair, build new schools, hardening of existing schools, etc. Why is this board talking about taking on additional costs, but not facing the significant problems we already face? The school board states they are fully capable of handling the safety of our schools. Then why, after threat assessments were done on each of our schools, completed, reports given back to this board, why are weaknesses within our schools? Why haven't the simplest ones been faced and corrected? I'll give you an example of a simple safety issue that hasn't been addressed in the last 8 months, and you have been put on notice repeatedly. Why are there still fences down behind a high school in this community? That's an easy fix. In the light of the board's lack of effort to effectively work on a budget plan, a safety security plan within Clay County Sheriff's Office, we ask this board to answer how will you fiscally sustain a school board police department without asking the taxpayers for more money? As we speak, the 2019 legislative session is working diligently to add to the Marjorie Stoneham Safety Act. And until we know the full scope of the changes and strengthening of that bill, we need to slow down. We ask the board that you just not proceed right now. Slow things down. Talk to the sheriff. He's the one with the expertise. He's not going to come in and ask to teach a class, but he's got the guys that are trained, the ability to protect our kids. Let him do his job and you do yours. Thank you.
Okay. The next speaker is Tina Stewart.
Hi, my name is Tina Stewart. I live at 143 Sesame Street in Middleburg, Florida. I am a Clay County native, born and raised. I have probably lived in 3 locations within this county. I have attended several schools from elementary to high school, as well as I have 2 children that attend elementary school at Wilkinson Elementary. I can tell you personally, with what I deal with my daughter in the last year or 2 years, the school cannot handle bullying as it is now. They don't handle sexual harassment as it is now. And now in 5 months, you want to put together a police force. 5 months, you can guarantee me the safety of my children are going to be handed by a school board that's elected to deal with educational issues. We need to keep our cops in the schools. Why don't we work on basics? Clear book bags. My daughter expressed she doesn't want that. Bet she doesn't. I wouldn't want it either. But hey, it's reality now. Metal detectors, more cameras, fix our gates. Simple things first, not jump into a police force within 5 months and try to shove it down our throats as taxpayers. We've elected you guys as officials. You need to listen to us. Ms. Studdard, no disrespect. You shook your hand, you want to kick people out. We're taxpayers. That's, I feel, inappropriate. You should listen to us. We're here, we elected you. This millage that we just voted on, I voted not for a police force, for simple things at first. You want a police force? Fine. Like everybody has said, slow it down. You can't do this in 5 months. You've elected a police chief and you don't even know if you have the grants. Slow it down. Why don't we as taxpayers get to elect who the police chief is of our kids' schools? We elect our sheriff. Why can't we elect the police chief of our schools? Listen to us. We don't want this. Stop it. Let's slow it down. Get the input of everybody. Clearly, you have a room full of people who do not agree with your decision. I have not seen one Facebook post, read one news article, nothing. That not one Clay County citizen agrees with this school board's decision to implement a police force within the next 5 months. 5 months. That's ridiculous. You can't do it. You can't do it. Prove me otherwise. It's impossible. 5 months, you can't do it. You need to slow your roll down. Let's start on the basics. Implement some simple things. Let's do classes. Teachers, students, especially our older students, need to have classes in bullying, self-respect, respect for others. They need these things. The teachers need them. The kids need them. It needs to start in our elementaries. I remember as a young kid in elementary school, we had a school resource officer. Wilkinson doesn't have one. We had DARE. We don't have DARE. These drug addicts are out here teaching our kids. They can't even take care of themselves. I mean, you guys need to slow your roll. That's it.
Okay, and the next card is Craig Wells.
Hey guys, Craig Wells, address is on file. I'm not going to yell at you and I'm not going to ask you to do anything. I'm just going to give you a couple of statements. My wife and I own a couple of businesses in this community and volunteer extensively. Matter of fact, I would challenge probably anybody in the county in terms of the hours and time that we invest here. So we are committed to our county and the success of it. I don't think you could argue that. So in our business, you know, we make decisions all the time. We're had business for over 20 years, so you could say I'm a risk taker. And we assess risk from time to time and decide which risk we take and which risk we don't. This one concerns me. One of the other things that I learned in my over 20 years as a parent and as a business owner is I don't often tell people what to do. I assess situations. And I've learned it doesn't work well to command things and to just tell them what you want. Sometimes you let it figure out and play out. But so a lot of times what I've adapted is use my experience and background and say, well, I recommend this or I recommend that. A lot of times we come to the same conclusion. So I use that with my son a lot, 10 years old. He's a competitive gymnast. Son, do you really think you need to eat Skittles? Maybe we need to do something else. Do you really think you should be flipping off the couch when you have a state competition this Saturday? Let him make some decisions. If I have to, I can get firm if we need to in those situations. But when we assess things in our business, a lot of times we outsource for efficiency. I don't do my own taxes. I use a CPA. I use a medical professional to send our workers' comp patients to. I outsource because it's efficient. I think that you see that people prefer that. They trust our professionals that do things for a living and specialize in that. So I think it's fair to look at that. The other thing that concerns me about where we are today, and again, I'm not going to tell you to do anything, I'm going to make a recommendation, is the risk that you all have. I don't think it's appropriate to threaten elections or anything like that. Some of you may not wish to run next time around. Some of you may be, I'm done with this, I don't want to do it. So I don't think it's fair. Many of you just got elected, it's 4 years from now, so it's a long time. So I think the risk is there's deep concern in the community, and even if you guys execute a flawless plan, everything you do is going to be scrutinized. If some wild card thing happens, I'm in the staffing business. We hire people for a living. We put hundreds of people at work all the time. We can't control everything. But if something occurs, it's going to be looked at this group of 6. All of you, I know everyone's not for it, but they're not going to say the one that didn't vote for it or this and that. It's going to be the school board did this, this occurred. It's a risky move. I make a recommendation that you pause, give it some time, see where you end up. Thank you.
Okay. The next card is Amanda Shaw.
My name is Amanda Shaw. I live at 1565 / Pine Court in Orange Park.
And speak into the mic a little closer.
My name is Amanda Shaw.
That's good.
I live in 1565 / Pine Court, Orange Park. Now, growing up in Azle, Texas, which is a very small town outside of Fort Worth, I never really had to think about safety to school because there was always an officer. Our school board made sure of it. There was never a question of starting a new department because the Azle police were there to do their job. The school board members they don't receive a paycheck there. They're strictly voluntary. And they listen to the parents of the school district. They are good stewards with what they've been given, and they actually let parents know ahead of time of what's being discussed. They send out handouts and phone calls. And they've done that my whole life while I was there. Now, fast forward, my husband is in the Navy. I'm a Navy wife. I'm a Navy veteran, and I have 2 amazing children. And everywhere that we have moved, we've always been given a handout and an all call on the phone saying there was a school board meeting, something's being discussed, come and be heard. That to me is a sign of integrity and a sign of good character. Okay? Now, fast forward to now, when we moved here. We own a home here. I never really paid attention to the school board when we first got here because I thought it's just like everywhere else that we have lived. I was proved very wrong. And I'm very disappointed because I feel like some of the antics that have been done are childish antics. And I feel like parents need to be listened to, and we're not being listened to. Some of y'all do whatever you want, whenever you want, regardless of what everybody says, and that's not how you're supposed to be as a school board. You're supposed to listen. I will say this, the only person that has returned an email and a phone call has been Ms. Gilhausen, and I thank you for doing that. I thank you for standing up for what is right, and I thank you for answering all my concerns in a calm and cool manner. Thank you. I do want to say this, that my daddy always said, your word is your bond. I'm not seeing that here. I'm seeing 2 sides talking about different things, and I'm very confused. I feel like this police department, it's a knee-jerk decision. I think that y'all need to kind of, like everybody else said, just slow it down. I don't understand what the rush is. Like in the Navy, you have core values, honor, courage, and commitment. Honor to do what's right, courage to stand up, and commitment to make the environment that you're in a better place. I don't feel like y'all are doing that because you're not listening. Take the time to just listen to the people that voted you in. If you wouldn't have so much backfire. You wouldn't have so many people angry at you. You'd actually be able to have an adult conversation and make adult decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. That completes us the cards. Next, we will go to the adoption of the consent agenda. We do have items C4, 5, and 13 were moved to discussion. I'll entertain motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the items pulled or withdrawn.
I'll move approval.
Second. Have a motion by Ms. Caracas, a second by Mrs. Bola. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0.
It just went away.
Mine didn't come up.
Mine didn't come up either.
Ours hasn't come
It's
up
not-
to vote.
We should move on and just let her manually do it.
Will you manually do it, Mrs. Bush? Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Okay. I do want to mention the proclamations that were approved to show support. Item C2 was the Clay County Agricultural Fair. The fair is April 4th through 13th, and I know we'll all be there. And so we always look forward to the fair every year. And item C6 was Teacher Appreciation Week, is May 6th through 10th. So we want to put that date out so that everyone will know May 6th through 10th. Appreciate those teachers. We appreciate them every day, but that is the week we're really going to recognize it. Okay. And then Teacher Appreciation Day is May the 7th. And item C7, Administrative Professionals Week, is April 22nd through 26th, and Administrative Professionals Day is April 23rd. So we have to remember to honor all these. Okay, CCEA update, Renali Paiva.
Good evening, Renali Paiva, President of the CCEA. I'm sitting back there and getting texts and messages from people. I truly didn't know, and I wish I had, because I would have addressed the school board members at the agenda review. I truly didn't know we were moving units that you just approved in your allocation package. So Ridgeview losing their pre-K and it being moved to Lakeside, and EBD units being moved to Ridgeview. I have huge concerns about that. I am stunned that it was never brought up, so we never had a discussion of it, and it's very hard to look at all the things that happened. The only thing I really cared about that we didn't have cuts at the teacher's level, so that's where my mind goes. But I am truly upset that we're doing this and moving ESE units all around, and which you approved. So it just went through the consent agenda, those allocations. So first of all, let me thank Mrs. Stutter and Caracas, Bullard, and Bola for coming out on Monday and waving signs to support public education in the Fund Our Florida, Our Future Florida. And I just want to talk a little bit, like I talked today to the Kiwanis. I want to talk a little bit about a teacher shortage in the state of Florida. And we need to be mindful, because you're going to be recruiting teachers and you're going to be looking for teachers, and we have some very huge obstacles in our way. Last year, we turned over 11.74% of our faculty. 11.74% of our faculty. We had 263 teachers leave, either through resignations or retirements. We also are a growing county. So we not only added those teachers back, but we also added 61 allocations back. So we hired 324 new teachers, 125 of them being brand new teachers. Brand new teachers. In 2010 and 11, a very important law went through, 736, and it said that teachers no longer can have a professional contract, that it's renewed every year. So now all new teachers have what's called an annual contract. They are hired, and their contract expires on June 30th of every year. In the first few years, Mrs. McCabe and Mrs. Adams and I, actually, it was horrible because everybody, I don't know if you remember, everybody was dismissed. So all your AC teachers got a letter saying their contract's done. And we came and changed contract language and allowed them to be continuing. And in fact, we pushed it back to October. So even if they were let go, if they were hired before October 1st, it was still considered, they didn't have a break in service. So after 2010 and 11, when this happened, our Florida universities and graduates and colleges used to graduate 7,000, a little bit more than 7,000 new teachers in their schools of education. 7,000 new teachers every year until 2010 and 11. The DOE, their statistics, Department of Education statistics, in 16-17, which is their last year of statistics, they graduated just a little bit over 4,000 teachers from their College of Education. That's almost a 50% decline in College of Education teachers. I've had principals say to me that they have never interviewed somebody from the College of Education in the last 3 years. That's frightening. The DOE, and this is their numbers, in 2013, in January of 2013, there was 1,424 teacher vacancies. That means it was filled by subs in January in 2013. 1,424 non-certified teachers teaching in our classrooms. In 2019, now, January, DOE reports there are 3,280 non-certified teachers teaching in our classrooms throughout the state as substitutes. DOE projects that we will be short at the end of the year 10,300 teacher vacancies. There will be 10,300 teacher vacancies. That's the DOE statistics. That is not FEA statistics, and certainly not mine. I'm not bright enough for that. In pre-recession Florida, we ranked 30th in the nation in teacher pay, 30th in the nation. In post-recession Florida, we fell to 35. And we kept falling, and in 2018, we ranked 45th in teachers' pay. That's frightening when you consider that Florida is the 7th wealthiest state in the union. Their economy is ranked 7th, and teachers' pay is ranked 45th. Next week, I know we are going to Tallahassee. I know some of you are going to Tallahassee. I need you to be mindful of this and speak to our representatives about this. The other thing that's absolutely killing us, besides this annual contract, is this bonus scheme. And that's what it is, a scheme. So the governor has put a new best and brightest bonus together. He did a good thing. He took away the SAT and the ACT scores and made them non-count. And we all clapped for Mr. Cochran when he met with every president of the union 3 weeks ago. And we clapped at that. What we didn't know at the time was that the new best and brightest will award $9,000 to 45,000 teachers, highly effective teachers. There's no language that says effective at all. Highly effective teachers, 45,000, on the recommendation of the principal. I wouldn't want to be a principal. This best and brightest still leaves out guidance counselors, media specialists, coaches, staffing specialists, school social workers, school psychologists, curriculum specialists, pre-K teachers, as we learned. They get nothing. They're not even eligible, but principals are. The DOE, the legislators always says we're going to award classroom teachers, but they're going to include principals now and still leave 10% of our faculty out in the cold. There are 180,000 public school teachers in this state. There has been no recommendation from the legislators to put anything on the salary scale for teachers. Zero. $422 million is going to be put in the best and brightest. $422 million. If you put that on the salary scale for 180,000 teachers, that comes out to $2,344 teacher raises for every public school teacher in the state of Florida. But they choose not to. They're determined to keep the best and brightest. But I have to hand it to them. They have the greatest words I ever heard. You know, No Child Left Behind, you know, whatever. Student Success Act, best and brightest. You know, we can't compete. I know Mrs. Troutman just went to Georgia to recruit. And one of the things she said to me is, how do you recruit when you don't have the best and brightest? Before she could recruit, because as long as they had an SAT score, first-year teachers could get that bonus. Georgia is $14,000 ahead of us. Their teachers make $14,000 more than we do. I know because we've lost a lot of teachers to it. So this is what, I say all this to say this. When you go to Tallahassee, you have to have a serious conversation. Senator Bradley and I met last week with my delegation for an hour. For an hour. And I couldn't, you know, the part that was so frightening was he couldn't get this. But if you told these officers they're no longer going to get a salary, they're going to get a bonus. It doesn't go on your pension. And that's all we've got from the state since 2013. Governor Scott was the last person to put money on the salary scale for teachers from that legislators. Since that, the raises, the salary adjustment has come from you guys scraping and finding money. Last year, the state gave you 47 cents per child increase, 47 cents. You're the elected officials. You have to talk. Mr. Davis, you have to talk in the supervisor, because I know the superintendents aren't happy, because, you know, Rocky Hanna, superintendent of Leon County, wrote a great op-ed about this. In fact, I stole all those numbers. Everybody knows, but everybody just lets it happen. You got to stop. This profession's going to be dead. All right. That's it for me. I'm out. I will not be here the next 2 months, so I'll see you in June. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something, Ms. Paiva? Can I say something, Ms. Paiva? Ms. Paiva, I will make certain to promise to look into those two pre-K programs. Whatever we'll look at it. From my understanding, I honestly, I haven't had any conversation with any staff about it, so it could be a potential error. We'll go back and we approved, and we'll get back with the board as soon as possible in the next couple of days, and we'll always make certain that we have the resources and the services needed at every one of our schools. Thank you, and we can virtually have you every month if you'd like to. Just kidding.
Maybe we can arrange for her to call in all her worries. Okay, next is the CESPA update. Teresa Dixon.
Good evening, Teresa Dixon, CESPA president. I just wanted to start out similar to Ms. Paiva regarding the bargaining issues, and we're going to be going into bargaining soon as well. And as bad as the teachers' pay is, you know, it all kind of trickles downhill with support employees as well. And our support employees, as you know, are suffering and need to be remembered when that time comes. I'm really torn. I sat here tonight and I listened with great intent to a lot of what was said. And I spent the past week on my computer rewatching school board meetings, rewatching agenda reviews, and really kind of looking into all of this information. The last school board meeting was painful. 2 hours to make a decision. It was tough. And I know that you all poured your heart into it and did the best that you could to make the best decision that you felt for our students, for our schools, and for our citizens. Unfortunately, I think somebody used the phrase, social media tends to grow legs. I can't remember who said that, but wow. Social media grows legs, and it gets ugly. And it grows legs, and it gets ugly, and it's usually half-truths, partial statements, misconceptions, manipulations. There's so much of that that goes on, and it's just ugly. It's just ugly. I've listened tonight about secret rush decisions. But in all of my review and research, every school board member, every one of you, all 5 of you, knew about this 2 weeks before the review, the agenda review. Your constituents, some of them, have the impression that it was this big surprise that nobody knew. It's time to tell them, you knew. You knew this decision was coming. All of you knew. I hear about corruption and greediness, and it just makes my stomach turn because I look at this school district and I see greatly increased morale. No, we're not getting the pay that we want. We want more. We deserve more. But the morale and the environment and the communication and the collaboration have created great improvements. We're on the right track. And it breaks my heart to see people forget that. I hear all of this stuff. I hear the Barney Fifes and we want real police officers and mall cops and all of that. And I wonder, who's taken the time to read the new statute 1006 that clearly defines who these officers that will be hired by the Clay County School District will be. They are not Barney Fifes. They are not mall cops. They're not security guards. They are police officers. I hear about slowing down, and then I hear about you've only got 5 months. Seems to send a mixed message. I hear about you only have one chance to get it right. And I agree, you only have one chance to get it right. The officer at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas was a Broward County Sheriff's officer. He only had one chance to get it right. Sometimes what you think is right isn't always. Everybody's not going to be 100%. The millage sold as a safety and security measure. And that's true, safety and security. Right now, we have SSOs in our elementary schools, SROs in our high school and junior high schools. And what would happen with the school district police department is an SRO, a licensed law enforcement officer, in every school. I hear about the citizens, or the students having relationships with the SROs, and they do. Our SROs do a great job. I take nothing away from that. I've been at my school for a number of years, and I've seen at least 4 or 5 of them go through there. They don't stay forever. So those relationships that are built, while they're important and they're valuable and they're a wonderful asset to have in the school, they don't last forever. And somebody new comes along and new relationships are built. I hear about assessing situations, and I think that's what you did, is assess the situation. I think you looked at every option available. I think you were looking at cost, certainly. I think you were looking at your ability to do something. And I think you were looking at the business model of it as well and what makes the most sense. Everybody screams physical responsibility until it isn't what you wanted. And then if it's not what you want, well, then you don't mind paying more. I think that no matter what decision the school board makes, that there are going to be people that are going to criticize and put it down, even if it's flawless. Too many childish antics, too many pot stirrers, too many posts on Facebook without all the facts. I just want to thank you for making a decision, and I hope that you'll stand with your decision. I know that the sheriff has proposed a really good deal, that he's got some numbers and he's going to the BBC with that, and that's great. But you know, in all of this, it also has kind of opened my mind up to some questions. How long have we been paying an annual salary to a 9-month employee? How many hundreds of thousands of dollars have we been paying and not receiving those services as a school district? And that was okay, and nobody said anything about that. BBC wasn't hollering about that. The people paying taxes weren't hollering about that. But now all of a sudden, it's come to light. When in a business, I would think that somebody running a business, if you're running a business, you want to have your employees be able to control the variables of your own employees, be able to control the costs, be able to dictate the job, be able to tell your employees what you would like them to do. And I think that you took all of these things into consideration, and I think they're important. I'm tired of it. I'm just really tired of it, and I'd like to see it end. I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. I've probably just stirred the pot even more. But this is just something that I felt like I had to say from my heart, because I think there's way too much misinformation, partial stories, pieces here and there, and people aren't taking responsibility for their own parts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. Superintendent's update and presentations.
Yes, ma'am, through the chair. Sorry. This month, I'd like to take the opportunity to let's see if I can get this working. Bless you. Take the opportunity to talk about the Insight Survey. Mrs. Dixon hit on a very important point that right now we do have a lot of momentum related to our climate and culture in Clay County as relates to the school district within our schools. We see significant movements with the mentality, how teachers are working collectively in their professional learning communities, how they are taking greater ownership of their craft, how leaders are working side by side our educators every single day to problem solve and to work in order to improve teaching and learning. So a lot of great things that are happening in Clay County, and the Insight Survey is one of the areas I want to speak to this evening. Also want to talk about planning, bless you, to host community listen and learns, to go around and talk about safety within our school district, and then identify our March champions of change. So as it relates to the Insight Survey, and I've talked about this before, we coming in, we wanted to make certain that we truly had a scientific measure to see how well that we are doing as a school district. And one thing we did is partner with the New Teacher Project to create and extend a Insight Survey to all of our teachers who have contact time with our students in our classrooms in our schools. And what we do is this assessment really allows us to look at how well our instructional culture is moving forward in Clay County District schools. It allows us to identify best practices along with looking at areas that we can address in order to move forward. So we give the survey, which gives us a lot of analytics to look at where we are as a school culture. That information is then generated and cut in so many different facets and then derived into reports that we extend to our principals so they can identify what's working, what's not, and what we can do differently And then they use that information through a body of assessments to work with our teachers to identify what we can do in order to improve culturally and instructionally within our individualized schools in order to improve the culture within our school districts. And overall, it allows us to not only obtain feedback, but really take information and put it to action within our school district. As relates to the design of the Insight Survey, as I said before, it really allows us to have some validations and some measures within our school district. It looks at multiple facets that are assessed within our schools by teachers. It allows them to look at learning environment, professional development, instructional frameworks and focus, the workload they're experiencing in our school, how's the peer culture, looks at retention. Are we doing a good job to retain our first-round draft picks, our teachers within our schools? Ms. Spiva talked about the ever-growing need to fill positions. So what are we doing as leaders to celebrate teachers and allow them to be an instrumental part of our workforce? And then what are we doing for observation and feedback within our schools? Are we truly going into a classroom as leaders and problem solve with teachers, or are we leading with a top-down approach, which we're trying to get away from, and our leaders in our schools are getting better every single day? From that Insight Survey categoricals, it then pushes to an Insight Index score from 1 to 10. And what it does, it takes three major components related to, is my school committed to improving teaching and learning and improving the practice? Do we have high expectations and clear expectations instructionally within the school? And do the teachers at our school share a common vision of what excellent instruction look for? Those three elements are derived from that survey, and it gives every one of our schools an index score to allow us to not only compete internally, which we're trying to, but also learn best practices and compete at a national level. As relates to what the survey does, the survey allows us to gives us a continuum of all 42 schools. It puts to a part where it identifies our top quartile schools, and then it allows us to identify schools who are in the bottom quartile. And what we try to do within these schools is learn from each other. You know, what are the top quartile schools in Clay County doing well that we can learn from and put new practices in? And what are really the concentrational efforts in our bottom quartile that we can triage, support, and have better wraparound services from the district level and from our leaders or teachers in order to help them be successful? We see that the top quartile schools have a greater retention rate with teachers and a greater rate for student proficiencies. And we see that individuals who are in the bottom quartile, they're losing teachers and support staff at a greater rate than those who have a solid and competitive and thriving and involved climate and culture within the district. Overall, this whole platform is really designed to have a continuous improvement cycle in the fact that we measure and get the information from our teachers. We assess to identify areas of opportunities and strengths. We then develop an action to address the areas of needs and opportunity, and then we act and put it in place and start that cycle holistically every opportunity that we can to triage particular areas within our school district. Overall, Clay County Insight Survey, here's analysis from when we first took it when I came in 16-17 to 17-18 to 18-19, and then look at a 3-year growth. You see from 16-17 to 18-19, we have made significant growth in every one of these categories. And you may look at the 3-year growth and say that's not a lot, almost a 0.8. An annual year's growth is represented as a 0.25 by TNTP and a national from the national norm. So if you can see in some of these areas, we have truly had 3, 4, and 5 years of growth all in a 3-year span, and we see great movement. As relates to areas that we really focused on, we have really focused on evaluation. If you saw from 16-17, we're at a 5.7 to now we're at 7.0. We're really trying to do a better job being transparent with our teachers, through our educators about the evaluation process and how they can continue to improve every day in order to turnkey the work with our kids to help them be successful and meet grade level expectations. Another area of focus that we focused on was really giving true feedback and through observation. And you see we started at a 5.6 to a 6.6. We've had 4 years worth of growth in 3 years, which says that we are doing a better job providing bite-sized, actionable feedback to our teachers within our classrooms. As relates to how do we compare nationally, and that's one thing I like to do, not only how do we compare locally within our schools to identify norms, but we can look at national level. We see that there is significant growth in every one of our areas from the national perspective. There is one area with compensation that we are not competing with nationally, but I will tell you, and that's a reality. And Ms. Paiva and Ms. Dixon spoke about the state of where we are financially as a state. But I will tell you, overall, from the compensation, we're at a 4.7. When I came in at 16 in November 2016, we were at a 4.0. So we've made significant strides to make certain that we provide incentivized pay to our teachers and give them inspiration and show them that we care, along with support staff. And I can tell you openly, we're not done. We have work to do in this process, and that will be a focal priority going into the 1920 budget for all working employees within our school district. So as you know, I usually do champion change at the end, but I want to take the time to go down and do my champions of change, and then I'll close it. Mr. Otto approves. I know. Okay, I didn't mean to get you fired up, Mr. Otto. I am so sorry, but I am glad that you are here. Board of County Commissioner meetings next week, next Tuesday. Mr. Egan has you know what time. All right, so the first champion change, what we want to do is, Terry, can you go to the next slide? I left my clicker up. Every month we identify champions of change within our school district, individuals that have really transformed the work, been very innovative and creative in their practice. And this month I'd like to acknowledge and identify leaders in our school district that have really exemplified great work and have built some of the greatest cultures within our schools in Clay County. The schools before you tonight have exemplar leaders who work every single day, not only to focus on the instructional practice, but the emotional, social aspect. And you see, within these schools, they have an outstanding culture where individuals want to come to work and they want to stay there every single day because they're there to work not only for the school, but for the leaders I will acknowledge tonight. As you can see, you know, a 10 is the highest you can score in this, and we have 2 schools that are right there, they're 9.8. And as I call your name, I want you to please come up. I thank you for what you do every single day. This job isn't easy to lead our work. Education gets harder every single day. Children come with us with different readiness levels. And for you to be here tonight signifies your hard work and your commitment not only to Clay County, but to this community. At a 9.8, and I only have Shadowlawn. Usually I do alphabetical order on these, but I have to put Shadowlawn because they have 100% response rate in their school. So I gave them the first spot at a 9. So I'm sorry, Keystone. You're right there with them. So at Shadowlawn with a 9.8, Miss Bullock's like, take it back now. I'm sorry. They did a good job, Miss Bullock. They're tied for first, but really second if they're the first is Shadowlawn. That is Miss Nancy Crowder. Please come up. From Keystone Heights, tied for first, Mrs. Melanie Sanders, 9.8. Teachers didn't ask. So if you're watching from Keystone, if you encourage your colleagues to fill that out, you would have been first. Or actually 100%, you still would have been tied for first. From Patterson Elementary School, Mr. John O'Brien. Thank you for making it. It is freezing. This school, I'm telling you, the only secondary school, I continue to brag about this leader in this school. When you walk on campus of Lake Asbury Junior High School, you just feel it. It's a place where one day, you know what, maybe, if I was going to be a principal, I'd love to be the principal there. And, it's a great place, great leader, and that is Mrs. Becky Murphy. From Doctors Inlet, we have a rookie is on the board here, and that is Mrs. Carolyn Ayers. It's hard to first year. It's like a first-year teacher, first-year principal trying to figure out survival mode, but you've done a good job. Thank you. This one's always in the top 10 of everything. And, she just keeps every single day making it happen. And this is Mrs. Carol McCullough at Orange Park Elementary School. Also, a rookie here had a great survey and has created a lot of excitement at Plantation Oaks, and that is Mrs. Chastity Lee. W. Cherry, great leader, great community, civic leader, does a lot for a lot of people in this community, and I'm glad that she's I call her a friend, a colleague, and a principal. This is Angela Whitten. Thank you so much. W. Cherry. At Argyle Elementary School, drives a long way from home every single day, but you know what? For me, it was a great fit, a great need, great model, great leader, and this is Mrs. Angela Ward, Argyle Elementary. All right, at Lake Asbury Elementary School, Mrs. Tiffany Outman. And also from the last one, and this school had significant increases. I mean, I think it was around 2.7. I don't know. It was crazy. She made like 7 years growth in 1 year, and at the school. And Mrs. Tamley Winkler at McCray Elementary School. I'll just take a picture real fast, and we'll get you out of here. You can go home and be with your families.
Do you want them in 2 rows? Maybe in 2 rows so that they're not.
Carol, something tells me you should be in the front. You're still little.
Thank y'all for being great here. Ms. McCullough, are you going to finish my presentation, Ms. McCullough? Okay.
Are you through?
Have a great night. Please don't stay here. Enjoy your night with your families, leaders. Thank you for what you do. Last thing I want to talk about is listen and learns. And, we heard tonight about some community members that are really prepared to talk about safety within our school district in the direction in which the board has elected to move forward. And so now I believe it's time for us to continue this initiative and really start to have a conversation in the community. For me, it's about making certain that we educate and engage. And doing this, we'll discuss safety and security within our schools, what House Bill 7026 has put in place for us, and revisit the requirements that were mandated by the school district to identify how we've met those plans, what are we actually doing within Clay County District Schools, and then in addition to identify and to introduce the recommendation for the chief of police, which right now that individual is a Director 1. And then discuss the timeline, implementation, overall plan for the school resource officers that have been extended to me to put in place within all of our schools, and then provide an opportunity for Q&A. I do agree that we should always have input from our community in order to make decisions. And please know this, that we will be as transparent as we can about decisions that were made and talk about the initiatives that we'll put in place, and then have an opportunity for us to get feedback from the community so that so everyone can have a better understanding of the initiatives that are put in place for Clay County District Schools. These are some projected dates. I'll leave these up here for a minute. They're only projected, but I want you to have them to pencil into your calendar. I will send this to the board. So you'll have this. And these are dates that we wanted to do it after spring break. It didn't make sense doing it before spring break, then allowing people to come back and just be consistent in our work. and then we will be able to talk about what our interlocal agreements look like, what's the state of our work related to safety, and provide any direction that we can related to implementations for our plan. So more to come. I promise we will nail these dates down within the next few days, and by Monday we will send information with accurate dates and times and locations, so this community can feel or have the availability to attend, to continue to stay connected to our mission and to our work within Clay County District Schools. And that's it.
I am delighted that there will be listen and learns at the high schools, because this way you can clarify some of the information that is floating around on social media or in the community. I think that's an excellent idea, and I very much appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ladies, before we go any further, and thank you, Mr. Kemp, for turning the freezer off. I am absolutely frozen to death, but I would like to have a 5-minute break before we get into the discussion agenda. So if you would, 5 minutes. resume our meeting. Okay, Mr. Otto, we're going to start our meeting now.
That's my favorite.
I said we're going to start our meeting now. If you would please have a seat. I do appreciate you saying roll tide, but please sit down. I'm not going to encourage. Okay. All righty. Then we'll resume our school board meeting. Human resources, special actions, there were none. Item C4 that was pulled to discussion, it was pulled by Mrs. Gilhousen. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
Second. I have a motion by Ms. Caracas, a second by Mrs. Bola. Any discussion? Ms. Gilhousen, this was your item.
Yes, ma'am. So I don't think it's any secret why I pulled it. My effort is just to slow the implementation of this process. We have a proposal from the sheriff's office that the first year alone, even if you add in the cost of Green Cove's police department and Orange Park's police department, comes out to $4.3 million for our share. I mean, and we're projecting a little over $6 million first year implementing our own police. So that's close to $2 million in savings. Second year, the sheriff's projection is about $3.5 million for our share. So that comes to almost $1 million savings the second year.
Can I interrupt you a minute, Madam
Sure.
Chair? We've already voted on the options of what we're doing, so this is to just approve the personnel consent agenda.
Right, with
Need you to
brand new
explain what
job,
you're doing.
brand new job descriptions are in here for our,
So you want, well, we've already approved the job description. Did we just approve it last month, or it's in here now?
we approved a job description for our chief of police, but not for, what's in here is sergeant, lieutenant, and police officers.
Right, so are you denying those positions? The allocations have already been approved.
No, they haven't. I pulled that as well. So my request is that we approve this package minus the new job descriptions for police lieutenant, police training lieutenant, police sergeant, and police officer. Not that we, for lack of a better word, like they suggested before, table it. It's not that the BCC is going to meet on Tuesday. It's already on their agenda to discuss the sheriff's plan. If they approve it, it saves us, like I said, millions of dollars. So
Millions.
That's the discussion that.
Millions.
Millions, yeah. So, I mean, the discussion we've had so far, what I heard from each of you is your concern is that we're spending too much. And the reason for choosing option B was to save money. So if we now have a plan that saves us even more than option B would save us, are you all not willing to reconsider?
It was also to make sure that we had an SRO in every school. I mean, that
Right.
was the safety thing.
Right,
was the
right.
first
I'm
thing.
not
Okay.
saying you weren't considered
Okay.
about, yeah, of course
Right,
you were
and
concerned
I think
about
a
safety.
big part of it
but-
also was to have an internal, a police department that is our police department that has control over all of it, that we're not, different job descriptions. If we have the sheriff doing junior high and high school, and we have, Clay County School District Police Department doing elementaries, we want continuity across the board. And I'm still confused though, because it seems to me that the discussion that we're having tonight is you're not wanting to approve 3 job descriptions, and then when we get to allocations, 3 allocations. We're not here to discuss the package or the plan that we took because we've already approved it. So we can't take any action on that at all. We need to just move forward with.
No, we
You're
have-
not happy with the 3 positions that are there. You're giving, give your reason why those 3 positions.
We have the lateral to delete an allocation or delete a job description. That's at the purview of the board. And my question is, do you all want to consider I'm not saying get rid of it completely forever. I'm saying hit pause. Let's see what the county commission decides on Tuesday. And then we can revisit the conversation we've been having. I don't see why we need to rush headlong into something where new information is coming to light on the regular. To me, we have an opportunity to be more fiscally responsible. We have an opportunity to give the community what they've asked for in keeping Clay County Sheriff's Office a partner with our school district. And I just would urge that the board consider that opportunity and that we approve this package minus those job descriptions, and we can revisit them next month. I'm fine with that. But there's new information coming to light, and I think that making a decision in haste could cost the district a lot of money.
Well, I don't feel like we're making a decision in haste at all. I feel like we're being responsible. You know, I believe that it was probably November, December when this first came up, and Ms. Buller was requesting a workshop, and I was, talking about different directions to go in. Finally, in December or January, we brought it to the board, and we moved forward with it. So I don't feel like we are, just brought this up 2 weeks ago and we're moving forward with it. I feel like that, the research on our staff's part has been done. We've got excellent people involved in setting this up. The paperwork has been sent off. I mean, it's probably, I don't know what the deadline for when it, or how long it takes to come back, but the train has left the station. We have laid the groundwork already for this to go forward. I don't see any reason for us to slow it down and to stop the progression that we've already started. And I believe 100% that this is the right thing for our district to do. So I'm fully committed to moving forward so that when the sheriff decertifies everybody on October 1, we are ready to go.
Well, that's another piece of new information. The governor sent out a request to all the sheriffs across the state that they allow the Guardian program to continue. And our sheriff has acknowledged that he will follow the governor's request and will renew our Guardians if that's what we as a board want.
I'm glad to hear that because quite frankly, he should have been doing that anyway. He shouldn't have been threatening to decertify them as of October 1 when we do need them. We took a vote to approve option B with the continuation of the SROs, the SSOs, through the end of the 1920 school year.
I've been supportive of the Guardian program this whole time. I've wanted to keep it, and I remember that you wanted to get rid of the Guardian program.
And if you remember, after 2 hours of back and forth, I'm the one that compromised and said, okay, we will keep it, and if we need to, we can revisit it next year at this time to see, do we want to just have them in junior highs and high schools or where we want them? So I'm 100% on board with moving forward with the Clay County Clay County School District's Police Department, and you can continue talking if you'd like to, but I feel like I've said what I need to.
Well, I'd like to know what my other board members think.
Ms. Bullock, do you have any comments?
Well, one of the things, of course, the taxpayers and voters voted for the millage. And now we're going to turn around and ask the Board of County Commissioners to chip in, what was it, $1.7 million, 30%. And so it's like they're getting double taxed. I mean, here they voted for the millage, and we have the money to go ahead and set up the police department, and yet we're going to go back and ask. And as far as having the SROs at our schools 12 months, I like them there 12 months because schools don't close down. Yes, it's a smaller staff, obviously, but we still have students there. We have breakfast programs. We have all kinds of programs going on. We have football practice. We have all those things that are going on all the time. And so, I mean, that'd be an ideal time to think, oh, they're not there now. So I want them there all the time. Thank you.
Well, to that point, one of my concerns about not having a partnership with the sheriff's office is the 24-hour coverage portion of it. When you are partners with the sheriff's office, if something happens on a campus at 2 a.m., they already have officers out on patrol that will respond. In our instance, I don't know what the process will be if there's an instance on our school campus, because if you have to call your resource officer in to deal with that, at what point do you let them go home and sleep before the kids come to school the next day? I mean, that's when an incident happens, that's the beginning of their day. And then are we not going to pay overtime? Are we not going to pay after hours? I mean, there's a lot that is not built into the spreadsheet when we're considering the price tag associated with having our own police department. Even I didn't even see like ammunition on there. So there were things that, and I know that there's incidentals built in, and I fully believe we'll use every bit of those incidentals. I didn't see any mention as to what it's going to cost us in liability coverage. I didn't see what it was going to cost us as far as insurance for the automobiles we'll be buying. I have a list of things here that are just concerning to me, that we don't have a plan, at least not one that's been presented to the board, for where that money is going to come from. And if we fill these positions now, we don't have millage money right now. So where's that money coming from? If we start filling police officer positions, that's coming out of our fund balance, is it not? So I mean, that's another question of mine. What is this going to do to our fund balance to stand up a police department by the summer? It just, for so many reasons, I think we need to slow it down. And I've always said it's not a never for me. It's just this process I don't think is efficient.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
There's so many thoughts. Sorry. When we discussed this last month, one of my goals was to continue as is with the guardians that we have in place, and continue and build slowly. And throughout the discussion, 2 hours, there was compromise in a variety of areas. And the compromise that I made was, okay, I understand that the majority of our school board wants to go to our own police department. And I ended up supporting that. Since then, I've asked a lot of the questions regarding liability, regarding insurance, as you said, and things of that nature. How are we going to start paying for this now? The money that we are talking about in the millage is going to start coming to us probably in December. Our first payment from the state for the 1920 school year probably will be coming in the first part of July 15th. Will we probably have to dip in to our reserves to cover some of these positions? My guesstimate is yes, that we will have to pay for some of this to begin, seed money, for want of a better word, to get it started, that eventually we'll pay back to where we've taken that money to use that money to move on. I did have a concern. August 1st is going to come real soon. And I've talked to pretty much, I believe, everyone involved in the formation of this police department and where we're getting the officers for this. And there's a certain amount of trust that you have to have in the capability of the people that we have hired in order to make this happen. With that being said, we got additional information from the sheriff's office. And we mentioned this to each other, getting tired of looking at all these balance sheets and all
Lots
of
of
these
spreadsheets.
charts and spreadsheets and everything else that are going on. And I thought, okay, let me go back a couple of years, because we truly, the population in Clay County assumes that we've had the Clay County Sheriff's Office in every one of our schools for forever.
No.
And we've not.
Right.
And we've had to, unfortunately, cut back in years that we had those lean years. So
Right.
where can we cut back? And unfortunately, some of those programs had to be whittled down. And in that process, we've come back to the SROs in the high schools. And in 17-18, we just got an audit back from that. I don't know if you guys read through it or not, but I went to the safety section, the school, and it said that we had SRO services at 8 district schools, which would have been our high schools, and that we paid a total of $530,500 in 12 equal installments. And when I averaged that out, that came up to be about $66,000 per officer. Okay?
And what year was that?
17-18. That's only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
17, 18, we were
17,
paying
18, $66,312
Does that count
per
benefit?
officer. That was just in the high schools, remember?
But was that salary? It wasn't salary and benefits.
That was the
certainly.
amount that we paid. That
that
was
we
us
paid to the sheriff.
utilizing the services of the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
But we were paying 67,000.
Per 66,000 per officer, $530,000. I keep saying this, $530,000. Let's leave it at that. In 12 equal installments.
Okay.
Now, some of those
Last-
were like the junior high, like it.
No.
Okay, okay,
8
so-
high school, so it'd be the 7 high schools plus Bannerman.
Right.
Okay, SROs. Then last year, we got the word from the legislature that we had to have SROs or armed personnel guardians in our schools, all of our schools. And, you know, a lot of people said it couldn't be done. And we had to hustle to get it done, and it was done, and it was done effectively. And we have employees now of the Clay County School District in our elementary schools. We continue to use the Green Cove Springs Police Department as well as the Orange Park Police Department. They are police officers. They have different colored uniforms, but they are trained police officers. And what we're looking for is trained police officers that have gone through all of the training that everyone else has done. And in Green Cove Springs, and I had that number in front of me, but it was approximately, I want to say it was 67,000 per officer. Okay. So we're paying each of those municipalities approximately 67,000 per officer.
I think Orange Park.
But we paid the sheriff's office, I want to say, 101,000 per officer.
101,500.
And that 101,000 was for an entire year. And as I started researching, I found out that, you know, we have 180 days of school. And yes, prior to us having SROs in all of our junior highs, as well as the high schools, the Clay County Sheriff's Office does perimeter checks of all of our schools. And they go into the neighborhoods, and they drive the neighborhoods. And that's their job, to make certain that things are secure. And I don't know what and this is something that Dr. Kemp or Mr. Davis would be able to provide us with, but I'm not certain if that $66,312 way back when in 17, 18, a whole 2 years ago, included the drive-bys at night, because I know that they found stuff. I mean, I had a pond behind my portable, and the officers would come and say, well, you've got a picnic table again in your pond. I mean, I know that they found doors open, because we used to get the lectures from the principal saying, if your door's open, you're going to be coming over to lock it, sort of thing. But a lot of that was just basic policing the community. And so I'm sitting back going, yes, we're probably going to have to do more at night. We will probably have to use some of our officers or substitutes, whatever, to do more at night. Opportunities for working football games, opportunities for working anything that happens after those hours. And then I thought, okay, the sheriff has come back, he's given us a new number. And I did that same figure, and it came out to be $85,000 per officer, with the BCC picking up everything. And it's still utilizing the services, but not having, I hate to say it, but not having anything to show for what we're utilizing those services for.
Well, that's
And
a
that's what-
conversation we need to have.
and
because
that's-
I think we
right.
can own the Capitol. I really believe that's a
And that's,
possibility.
and that's, the capital is critical,
Right.
because we've been we're paying, last year, we paid for all of this. And I don't know if our current guardians own their own sidearms. I'm looking at a guardian in the back, okay, and I had heard that we're waiting on another reimbursement for that. I don't know how much that was. We gave the sheriff's office the $1.9 million that we received, but I don't know how much they got from the Guardian program. that they were supposed to
addition
work
to?
with in addition to that. I don't know if there was ever any money, because there's money out there available for the Guardian program as well. And and now the legislature is now determining whether they're going to do additional. And this is where we have committed to, in the last meeting, we chose to commit to do the police department in the Clay County school system. I know that a lot of people felt that we were doing it under the table, that we're making money off this or something. And I'm really frustrated by that thought, because I don't know where we could make any money off this.
Right.
It's going to cost us money. It's going to be more expensive, but in the long run, it's going to be less expensive in years to come. And perhaps we'll be able to make that millage money last even longer than the anticipated 4 years, which is the intent. At least that's how I perceive it. That's a whole nother conversation that we've not had as a team, to look at that millage and say, okay,
That was in
once
my
we've
notes to
done
talk about
this,
too.
once we've done this, what else do we need to do? And we need to make certain that we are very transparent, that we want this money to go here, 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 because it did say safety and security of our schools as well as operations. We know that. We know that. The safety and security, getting locks on the front doors and buzzers and, one key entry or whatever we call it. But there's so much more to that than that. And I guess from my perspective, I'm trusting that we're going to have a strong police department when we start. It will be a certified police department. We will have certified officers. Hopefully we'll have some of the people who are currently doing this job join us and have that experience already. They will be trained. They will be seeking people who want to work with children. And I mean, as a teacher who left the classroom, another teacher took my place. There's always somebody to take your place. And there are a lot of SROs out there who are incredibly successful and incredibly talented in working with our children, and those are the people that we want. So I guess I would have to say that I'm in favor of going this route and continue with this route.
I find it
Long way to
really,
get there, sorry.
really disappointing that at previous meetings, the police department that we will be creating has been referred to as mall cops. I mean, we don't look at Green Cove Springs and Orange Park municipalities, their police departments, as mall cops at all. They are trained, certified law enforcement. And that's what this department will be. They will be trained, certified law enforcement. They will not be mall cops. And I just think that is an extremely bad taste.
No, I may have something to say. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking. I consider myself a reasonable person. I think you all are most of the time. In my years on the school board, I've always tried to do what I thought was in the best interest of the district. We have, as I stated the other day to somebody, the horse is out of the barn on this. But Friday night, the sheriff sent us this letter with this new proposal. I read it and thought to myself, I wish we'd gotten that 2 or 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. When I spoke with him 3 weeks ago, he told me he was going to get with his finance officer and see what he could do. I was elated. I thought we're going to be able to work together. A week later, the numbers came back. And it hadn't changed a nickel, not a nickel. So that deflated my feelings. I thought, well, this is bad. So we have voted to support Plan B. We have sent off for the numbers in Tallahassee. We have, a gentleman has retired from one department and been hired by us in good faith.
And let me be very clear.
Let
I'm
me
not trying
finish,
to-
Ms.
I would never-
Gilshausen, just let me finish. I stood quietly while y'all talked. I have some concerns. I'm all for going forward. When this letter came last Friday from the sheriff, I've read it, and the prior communication is that he was going to not recertify our Guardian program, and that he was through with it. Now, in this one, I was glad to see that he has decided that he will be willing to continue with the Guardian program, and I appreciate that. I personally don't know what the county commissioners are likely to do next week, but we are the school board. I don't want to be wondering every year if whoever's sitting on the county commission wants to continue with this proposed 70-30 split. Just like the school board, the county commissioners change, and from year to year, we would always have that hanging over our head. In looking at the sheriff's proposal, and I don't fault the sheriff in this because he has a budget. His money comes from the BCC. He has only so much to work with, and I feel like he is doing the best he can under the circumstances. But the bottom line is per officer, 12 months a year, we were doing the 101,552 per person. But per school, because that was paying for 19 officers for the 12 schools that we have SROs, it works out to be what we're paying, $160,791 per school. The numbers are outrageous, especially when we got that chart from the superintendent that showed what other districts are paying, and in most of those districts, the county commissioners were coming in to help out. But now, with this new proposal, if we have all the schools with the junior, senior high, and elementary, plus he added in the 2 charter schools, the cost per officer is $122, $220. Cost per school would still be $157,600. So basically, and on the 70-30 split, if they did that, we still would be paying per school $110,300. That bothers me because that doesn't, at the best case scenario, even with, it seems like to me the totals are still the same. The only difference is he's going to be asking the BCC to cough up 30% of it. That kind of makes us beholden to the BCC and whoever's on the Board of County Commissioners and whoever is going to be sheriff. So that part of it does bother me. I'm tickled that he agreed to keep the Guardian program going. But right now, I'll certainly be interested to see what happens Tuesday when he goes to the BCC. But I think in Clay County, it's very important. We have a wonderful relationship with Green Cove Police Department, Orange Park Police Department, and we have had a good relationship with the Sheriff's Office, and I would like to continue that. For the good of Clay County, we need to all try to work together in a collegial manner, and I still feel that way. one thing that I would consider, since the sheriff had said that the terms of the current agreement are fundamentally unfair in that they require the school district to pay more than their fair share of the cost of each school resource officer. So now he is saying, you know, it's unfair for us to be paying for those 3 months that they're not in school. But we've been paying that. So he didn't say anything about a reimbursement, but, you know, that would be nice.
I think that's going to happen.
But I want y'all to hear me on this, and I'm just one of the 5 board members, but my feeling about it is if he can get his numbers down to, I think it was 85 that it would get to if on that split. But if he could get his numbers in, I begged him to sharpen his pen, but if he can get his pen sharp and guarantee that he'll continue with the Guardian program, sharpen that pen, you know, I would be willing, if y'all remember back when we had A, B, C, D, E, I would entertain the idea of bringing it back to the board to look at Plan D, which would allow him to stay in the junior high and senior highs next year. But it would give, that should be an advantage to the school district and an advantage to the sheriff's office. It would give him a year to plan and prepare for his staffing and his budgeting. It would give us an extra year to get our police department in place and not feel rushed, and make sure that we've got our T's crossed and our I's dotted. But I'm not going to, you know, I'd call a special meeting to do that, but we've got to have someone sharpening their pen and agreeing to the Guardian program. And I don't know that I'll ever call a special meeting. Y'all may not agree with it, but that's just, I'm trying to find some kind of way in my mind that we can work together. And that would kind of, as some of the people said tonight, it would slow it down a little and give us a chance, and it would give the sheriff a chance to have time to work with his budget and the county commission over the next year. It would keep SROs from the sheriff's office in the junior and senior high schools. We would go ahead and be getting them placed in the elementary schools. And I'm just trying to find a way that we can work together. And maybe I need to sit down and have a big gulp with the sheriff. So that's how I feel about it. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and support this item because it's in progress. Whether it be B or D or whatever, the horse is out of the barn. We're going. Whether we have to rush and get it done by the time school starts, or whether we go to look at a Plan D or a hybrid of Plan D in the future, we'll just have to kind of wait and see how things pan out next week. But that's where I am. I'm trying to find a way for us all to be able to sing Kumbaya.
Well, the only concern I have about that is his proposal is for 47 officers, so I don't know how the numbers change if we don't use all 47. So that's kind of a variable that and I don't know that the commission will be able to answer that either.
With that in mind, is there an opportunity to, with that in mind, is there an opportunity for us even to consider Plan D? Yeah,
I want to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
I do, because I like what you're saying as far as it keeps our partnership in place. It gives the community some of what they want. And Plan D was where I was when we talked about it last month. But
Well,
You would compromise.
instead of them having to come up with 36 for the fall, they would come up with 24. So it would give us time and the sheriff's time to get his officers placed. I noticed he had said that he was like 50 officers short, and so it would just give everybody a little time to kind of work it out. And I do think he probably needs to have time to really sit down with his county commissioners who fund his budget, and perhaps they can help him out some so that he can have cost more in line with what other districts are charging their school districts.
But let's remember, that's not what we're voting on tonight.
No, we're not
Tonight,
voting on
we're
anything. It's not an agenda item
Right.
tonight. The only thing we're voting on tonight is
having
his
this
personnel
discussion
consent
that
agenda.
We've already voted on, we've made a decision.
Certainly.
We've moved forward with it, so at
And we'll
this point-
continue to move forward until something comes up. And if I see something coming up, I will ask for a special meeting. So for now, we just need to vote on this personnel consent agenda. And we had a motion by Ms. Karakis and a second by Ms. Bola. Any further discussions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries 4-1 with Mrs. Gilhousen dissenting. All right, C5 is the 2018-2019 salary schedule, revisions to Section 1 administrative and Section 4 miscellaneous. This was pulled by Ms. Gilhousen before we vote, though I'd like to have a motion and a second.
I'll move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Karakis, a second by Ms. Bullock. Ms. Gilhousen, you pull this item?
Yes, ma'am. Again, it was just Section 4 miscellaneous salaries for the police department. And again, my intent was just to slow this down. And there's a big spread in salaries here that I know everybody's talking about saving money in consecutive years, but I don't see the cost. Obviously, the cost from year 1 to year 2 will go down. It'll go from $6 million to $4.2 million was the projection. But then every year after that, eventually you're going to have to buy more capital. Eventually you're going to have salaries that are increasing, benefits. I mean, we've seen what our healthcare benefits have done with our employees. When I spoke with the sheriff earlier this week, he shared with me that their liability coverage for their sheriff's deputies is going up by 30% this year. I mean, these are all costs that I know we want to say we want to control the variables and control the cost to the district, but some of those things, I mean, we've seen it with our own, I think about supplements, how we've talked about the runaway train of supplements. I mean, that kind of thing happens with when you own the employee. You don't necessarily own the cost.
Yeah.
So that's my concern. That's, again, why I think we need to take this a little bit more slowly. But we can vote. I think everybody said their piece on it.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Karakis, a second by Ms. Bullock. Was there any further discussion? Y'all want to say anything? Okay, have a motion by Ms. Karakis, second by Ms. Bullock. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries 4-1 with Ms. Gilhousen dissenting. Next is the C13 proposed allocations for the 2019-2020 school year, pulled by Mrs. Gilhousen. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Second by, was it Bullock?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Bullock. Okay,
So a
Now-
couple things. Is there I know we talked about the pre-K situation. Is
The
there
what?
the pre-K teacher situation?
Right.
Is there a way we can rectify that here instead of having to bring it back? Or do you need time to go with staff and bring it back to us?
Probably need time to go with staff
Yeah.
because it was, no one had conversation with me about it, and I didn't see it in the package. So we're going to and my staff doesn't know either. So it sounds like there's definitely an error of communication, but I promise to bring it back in April if it's wrong. And to make sure we get it right, we'll communicate with staff and to the leaders in those schools.
so go ahead and vote on it tonight. and
I
we'll-
would say to the chair, yes, ma'am, and then we'll make it right if there needs to be
Yeah.
an adjustment or a change.
Yeah.
It could be programmatic where some kids are moving and when the kids move, programs move, but still, we need to do a better job of communicating.
Yeah,
That's
that-
not why I pulled it.
Oh, no,
If
no,
I had
no.
known ahead of time, I'd have called you. But
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not why I pulled it.
Sorry, I
So-
didn't.
And you'll get with Ms. Paiva on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you want to say anything else? Because I do want to make a couple caveats on this.
I do. Again, once the positions are allocated, the spending is authorized. So I'd love to hear from Dr. Legutko or from you, Mr. Davis, as far as where this money is going to come from until we get the millage money and what that's going to look like for our fund balance. And then also, if and when this is approved, my concern is we have a guardian and now we'll have a SSO at all of our elementary schools, but we only have one projected to be staffed at our junior and senior high schools. So if it were up to me, I would switch those.
So through the chair, right now, we just put them as placeholders, and we will run I agree they should be at secondaries. We'll run analysis of where we put them at related to heat maps in particular elementaries if we have the model of both of them, which the board said they requested to do. So all that for now, it may be adjustments to where they are in particular schools.
Mhm.
I'm just waiting for that information to come by in the next, potentially a couple of months to push it through. The board be informed of the entire way.
Okay.
But I agree, secondaries, they should have double.
Mhm.
Okay, I do want to mention the correction on C13, proposed allocations. This was from Ms. Legutko. These were Scrivener errors and do not impact the positions allocated. Wilkinson Elementary School, Section 6100 Student Services. The indicated total on attachment is 4.5. Corrected total should be 5.0. Page 70, Ridgeview High School, Section 6200 Media. The indicated total on attachment is 1.0. Corrected total should be 2.0. Just want to make sure we get that in the record. Okay, any further discussion?
Do we have an answer about the fund balance?
Oh,
Yes, through the chair, we'll make sure I have it written down for a plan of what it would be, and I will execute all of this per the board's directive, and I will bring this information. I'll get with Dr. Legutko and my team, and we'll identify the actual projected cost and estimated cost, and the timeline of that cost, what it looks like, and show you what funding could be used. I will say openly, there'll probably have to be some funding used in June, because if we have to hire, we'll have to bring officers on at that point, so 1 month in advance. So you will have 1 month that will be impacted with our projected fund balance by the end of the year for staff. And I think everything else can be addressed in July 1, and I can show you where we will be able to what funding we'll be able to use and have to, like Ms. Bola talked about, may have to cover, and then it will be paid back once that millage money comes in for the end of the 19 year.
So what will be our projected end of year fund balance?
Right now, I would say right now, we're probably projected at 4.56, somewhere around there.
But
We're-
with the addition.
Oh,
of-
I have to look at it
Okay.
now. That will have to be, it'll be impacted definitely. But
Are we going to be below 3%?
under my leadership, you'll never be below 3%. I
And that
promise you
money
that.
would be
we
paid
do
back.
not want to go there.
No, right, no.
Yeah, trust me. And I've worked so hard with staff to make sure it's been on the right trajectory, but we'll never be in that spot.
That's a promise.
It's been proven.
We've got him on air.
It's been proven.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Bickner, School Board Attorney.
Wait,
remark-
we didn't vote.
We didn't vote?
We
Oh,
didn't vote.
goodness. All right.
We
All
had a
those in-
motion by me.
All those in favor, yeah, I had motion by Carrick, second by Ms. Bullock. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries 4-1 with Ms. Gilhousen dissenting. School Board Attorney remarks?
None.
That's wonderful.
Pay us not to talk.
Okay, School Board Member remarks. I always start on that end. Let's start on this end. Ms. Caracas?
I don't really have anything. It's been a busy month, lots of things that I've gone to. I know, I didn't really even write them all down because by the time you get to me, everybody said them all.
Okay, Ms. Bullock?
I had fun at Bannerman Learning Center reading to their little kids on Dr. Seuss' birthday the other day. So,
Good.
but it's just been a great month. So.
Good. Ms. Bullock?
I'd like to have a shout out to Sherry Anthony. She's a former Keystone Heights High School standout point guard. She is the basketball coach at Nice High School, and she just had her 600th win. So I appreciate that. And Dalen, yes, very good. She used to be at Keystone. Also, Dalen Eatman has been recommended. She's a student at Keystone Heights High School for the Clay Athlete, so we're proud of her. And so we're,
Softball pitcher.
Yeah, softball.
Football player.
That's correct. And we had a great time at the science fair, and the mock interviews at Clay High were wonderful. So very good. We had a good time.
Okay, Ms. Bola?
I only have a couple of things tonight. I know, usually I have a list of things, but tonight I want to do a major shout out to Mr. Summers and Mr. Dunn from Oakleaf Junior High School. Their band, for the 10th straight year, got straight superiors at the state competition. So shout out to them. They're going to be honored at an upcoming music meeting as well. This weekend, I'm taking my husband out on a date. I just thought I'd make that. Yeah.
Winner.
We're going to
You're going
Orange,
to-
we're going to
I better
Orange
say
Park High School to see Death of a Salesman. I
going
hope
to
to see
Sizzler.
some of you
Which
there
night
as
are you-
well.
I'm
He gets
going
to buy
Saturday.
dinner and I'll buy the tickets.
You going Friday or Saturday?
We're going Saturday night.
I'm going Saturday night.
Oh, we'll see. We
Are
can
you
double
going
date,
Saturday
triple
night?
date.
I'm
There we
going
go.
Saturday.
All right.
Well, gosh, they're going to have a
I
full
don't
house.
think so. No. And for any teacher who knows me, a week from today is one of the most special days of the entire school year. It may be your birthday, Ms. Karakis, but more importantly, it is March 14th. And for those of us who are mathematicians, math geeks, we put up our pi signs and say Happy Pi Day to all. March 14th, 3.14159, for those of you who are not aware of that. I did not wear my Pi Day t-shirt tonight.
Thank you.
I was tempted. Thank you. I'm done.
Okay, Ms. Gilhausen.
I have a couple of things. So I've had some phone calls about members of the public wanting access to our budget, which they have. It's on our website, but I did notice it's a little bit difficult to access. So I would like it if we could put it somewhere other than underneath business affairs, because a lot of the public wouldn't think to go look under business affairs to find the budget. If we could put it, maybe have like a transparency page or something along those lines that just makes it easily accessible. Or it could be under the school board page, sure. Just somewhere that it's not, so you don't have to dig for it. And I noticed there's a little bit of difficulty with mobile compatibility. Like you can access the budget years all the way from 2012 to 2008, like this current budget year, on a laptop or a computer, but you can't access all those years on a mobile device. And I don't know if there's a way for us to fix that on our end, but just to make it more accessible. And then the font that's on those spreadsheets, and it's really a PowerPoint presentation. In some cases, you can't read it, like what those items are. So if we could just kind of clear some of that up. And along those same lines, moving forward, we talk about the millage and the transparency that we owe the public with that money. So this kind of goes in line with that. I would like to request as a board member that we get a monthly update for the money that's coming in from the millage and the money that we're spending on safety and security in our schools, so that like we get the monthly update on all the different budget amendment items. I think that would be helpful to the community. It would give us the opportunity to be transparent and show them
Good idea.
what money's coming in and what money's going out, and it's easy to find. And then also, like we talked about, we need as a board to decide how we're going to spend the money and save the money. And I think we need a presentation that we can vote on that makes it very clear our intent for how the money is going to be spent or saved for potential future costs, like we've talked about. And I know that there is a big concern about school hardening on our end as well as the public. That's something they're very concerned about. They see us spending money on a police force. They also want to see metal detectors or items like that. So I think that's a conversation that we need to have as a board and vote how we're going to spend those dollars.
I agree. It may be a little early for it right now because we've kind of in a work in progress but I do think at some point we need to do that. And then on the money coming in, how we're going to spend it, we're not going to see any money for what?
Till December, I think.
9 months.
Yeah.
9 months. So I think we certainly want the public to know how that money is being spent. But I just wish we could get it now so we could get
Agreed.
started.
Agreed. But no, I say that knowing we're not going to see the money coming in. But like I said, I'm really concerned about our fund balance. So I want to see what we're spending as we spend it,
Yeah, and
Um,
I don't think Mr. Davis is gonna let
No,
us get
and
into
it's
that.
not that. It's just for transparency
Right.
purposes to the public, and then
Yeah.
just for my own peace of mind to be able to look at the numbers
Right.
myself. I think a monthly budget update as we spend on something as big as a project like this. I mean, think about our construction projects. They constantly are bringing
Oh, yeah.
back as they make
And regrettably,
adjustments.
that
So-
fund balance too kind of
Right.
ebbs and flows.
It does.
As we go. So it's, it's kind of getting a snapshot on one day.
Mhm.
Next week, it could be different.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
at least we're kind of keeping an eye on it.
Right.
But I understand what you're saying, Ms. Gilhouse.
Right.
Anything else?
Along those same lines, I'd like to see, because we're talking about the sheriff's costs per school and per officer, I'd like to see the same spreadsheet with our costs so that we can compare apples and apples. Because we're talking about that it's more expensive to go with the sheriff, but I really think broken down it's not. So I'd like to see, just for adequate comparison side by side,
Okay. Can you
those numbers.
Can you get that to us? Thank you.
In bigger print.
And yeah, and
I know the board's dying for one more spreadsheet.
microscopic doesn't help a lot. We've got the magnifying glasses trying to read this, so
We'll
can
get
you
bigger
make it where
paper.
we can read it? Yes, sir. Thank you. Bigger paper, okay. Okay, I guess it's my turn now. I've got to say something. Last Saturday was the elementary track and field day, and I understand Jamie Beck was in charge of the whole schmoo this year. And I want you to know, a lot of people had umbrellas. It sprinkled rain, but it was a great event. The bleachers on the home side and even the bleachers on the other side were full. The parents were there, the grandparents, the aunties and uncles, and the kids were having a ball. It got a little hectic. We were afraid that the rain was going to start. There would be some lightning and we'd have to leave, but they made it through, and it was a wonderful, wonderful day. And then the district science fair was after our last meeting, and the exhibits, Mr. Davis, I've heard him bragging on the exhibit. They were outstanding. I had several of the judges say to me, their projects are so much better than they have been in past years that they had judged. They were very complimentary, and I'm very proud of the work that was done on that science fair. And then even though it wasn't one of our students, a young man named Eric Williams who won the Clay County Spelling Bee, I was watching TV couple, 3 weeks ago, and the regional spelling bee came on, and that little 6th grade, 11-year-old boy won the regional spelling bee. And so, hey, he's from Clay County, even if he's not a public school student. So, I'm just amazed, 6th grade, and he's won 2 years in a row, the Clay County Spelling Bee. And then I wish you could have seen him on TV in the regional origin. The kid knows this. How intimidating. They spell words that none of us could spell, I'll guarantee you. But anyway, with that, I wish y'all all a good rest of your evening, and maybe we can get heat when we get home. The meeting is adjourned.